Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. I'm back from a short little camping excursion with some friends, so ready to draft again. I think we left off winning a Swiss, so this is an 8-4. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, like this video, and come check me out on Twitch. You can find that link in the video description. I think this pick's probably just a Kindly Stranger. Great card. Pretty much requires you to be Delirium to be anything more than a 2-3. 3-mana 2-3, not that exciting. 3-mana 2-3 that kills something, anything, and turns into a 4-3. Very good. There's also an Illuminator in here, which is good. Seasons Past, which is a pretty cool card. I don't think it's worth too much, especially for being a mythic. And there's a Sleep Paralysis, which is also good. But we're going to start her off a little Kindly Stranger, because I think it's a good card. Okay, so there's really not a good black pick to follow up with. I think the best card to follow up with probably is Ravenous Bloodseeker. It's really good for the Vampire deck. It does sort of Delirium enable, possibly. It's more for Madness outlets, though. There's also Adjust the Wind, which I think is okay. But I think other than Ravenous Bloodseeker, this pack is a little bit weak. I mean, I like Gibbering Fiend fine and well enough. I think Bloodseeker's much better. Just a free Madness enabler like that is really highly desirable. There's also a Cryptolith Rite, which is played and constructed. Have not really jammed it in Limited yet. I was close to once, and then did not make the cut. All right, let's take the Bloodseeker. Okay, so our option now. I think the best card in the pack is probably Hermit of the Natternals. There's also an Insolent Neonate. It seems a bit early to take that, especially if we're not positive Vampires is going to work out. Hermit still works fine in a deck with Bloodseeker or Kindly Stranger, but likely not going to play both. There's just nothing else in here I think that's worth the pick. There's not a good black pick. We didn't see a good black pick 2, and now we have not seen a good black pick 3. That does not necessarily mean these packs had black cards that people are taking. It could just mean we haven't seen a good black card yet. But I think I got to take Hermit. Good card. Big fan of it. Okay. Well, we've got Jenny Loggins, of course. No good red pick. No good black pick again. So if they're going to give us a logger, I guess I'll oblige them and take it. There's really nothing insane in here. I've played Hope Against Hope before. It's more playable than I gave it credit for before, but there is actually a lot of pretty premium removal in this format. So it's a pretty all-in card. But I'm happy enough with a logger here. Okay, so we've got an Intrepid Provisioner, which is playable. Not terribly exciting. A Triskaidekaphobia, which is a cool card, but a little bit too much variance for me to like playing it. I think it kind of started off, people were really excited to jam it. And then as the format grew, it was like, it's only okay. It is okay. It's playable. You can definitely win games off of it. You can also lose games off of it when you're playing it, which is not good. There's a Paranoid Parish Blade in here. This card's not that exceptional. It's okay. There's a Just the Wind 5th pick, which isn't necessarily a sign. Just the Wind is okay too. I might just want to reduce to Ashes because it's removal. Actually, Pour Over the Page is pretty strong. I think we're going to take this. This card is pretty... Pour Over the Pages is kind of a special card, I think. That's a lot of card advantage that you can get from that. Okay, we can take the Watcher now. If we do end up in blue, I feel like we've seen some pretty good blue picks past. If we do end up in blue, we're probably going to be a bit grindy, which makes Watcher in the Web just a really, really nice card for your opponent to have to deal with. Could also end up 3-color. Usually when I'm green-blue, I like to play a 3rd color. Kindly Stranger being the reason to be a 3rd color, although splashing for Kindly Stranger is not something I'm a fan of. Splashing for Kindly Stranger or splashing for Sinister Concoction does not work as well as you want it to, because you still end up having to have 2 black if you want to use it in 1 turn, which you typically do with cards like that. Okay, well, Drogskull Cavalry is actually very playable. It's certainly not a sign that white's open, but it's a strong card. And I guess we did see like a Devilthorn Fox and stuff in there. There's a Rancid Rats, which I actually like a lot. But we could take the big-time finisher and maybe just be green-white. Otherwise, I mean, there's a Throttle. There's not a good blue pick. I mean, we are getting down to the dregs of the pack here. Thornhide Wolves is fine and good, but I think we'll take the Cavalry. Cavalry, whatever. Good card. Good finisher. Expensive, yes, but powerful. So we can take the land fixing because I guess we take the Spirit in case we end up in green-blue still. Mentor and Rotten Heart Ghoul, not exactly what you want in the same deck as like Kindly Stranger or the rest of our stuff. Stormrider Spirit's just pretty playable. Alright, Wield Sleep Paralysis feels like a sign. This card is pretty good. I think some people tend to think this card isn't that good, but I know better. Sleep Paralysis is a good card. There's also a Silent Observer and a Gone Missing there, so that pack went pretty deep. I guess we can take the Emissary. Wicker Witch for Delirium, possibly. There's Ghostly Wings and Not Forgotten too, but that's alright. So we do kind of want to get a grasp on what we're doing. We're kind of all over the place. In fact, we are officially in all 5 colors. But I think we are going to probably end up in blue, like I said. Saw a late Stormrider Spirit and a much later Sleep Paralysis than I would expect to see. Guess we'll take the Lamplighter. Not that it's good, but continue to cut blue. Alright, third to last pick, Ox, still good. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is we're either going to end up in green, blue, blue-white, white-green. We want to be some combination of these 3 colors, and we are just about ready to pull the trigger, I think. I don't think it's in our best interest to hold out much longer because we want to make sure, yeah, especially with a curve like this, we have to make sure that our curve gets much lower here, which makes me think green-blue probably because I've found blue-white to be fine, but it's tough to get a low curve on a blue-white deck. Like, Lamplighter's not going to make the deck anyway. And like I said, I think I'd rather pull the trigger on a green-blue than like a blue-white. We could still, like I said, do a green-white as well. Maybe splash blue. I'm fine splashing for Sleep Paralysis. Maybe that is actually the best. Well, there's a blue card. Taking Jace. Said we didn't need another 5-drop, but come on, Jace, you kidding me? Fun card, very powerful. We'll take it. Maybe we'll wheel this Sleep Paralysis too. Who knows? Okay, so we have Fork in the Road if we want to splash. We might not have to. We could just take Hinterland Logger here too, which is an early play. I don't like green-blue typically. It's more about being clues. And it's tough to get removal for green-blue, which is more or less the reason I just really don't like it all that much. But there's certainly not a good white pick in here. There's really not a good blue pick, so I think we just take the Logger. Dance with Devils is a very good card. Inner Struggle is very good, but I'm not going to jump over into like blue-red now, I don't think. I only have 1 red card, so yeah, we'll take the Logger and be fine with that. Like I said, at this point we really need to be just solidifying this deck. Alright, well Scarecrow is actually good for splashing. We don't have to splash now, but it also finds you lands and it blocks, and it helps with Delirium. It's probably a more exciting pick than Scavenger. I don't really like splashing for Topplegeist. And blue at this point just has to be, if we're playing Jace, then we're not splashing blue. So blue is happening, and considering I have these cheap green flip cards, you really don't want to splash those either. So if anything was going to get splashed, I guess it would be white, and that's probably not going to happen. So I'm ready to pull the trigger on green-blue, but now we want to figure out what we want our deck to do exactly. I think Delirium's going to be more difficult than you'd think to get, so that makes Scavenger worse. Same with Stoic Builder. Stoic Builder's fine, Bob Manley, but we might just want the Wildfield Scarecrow. If we find something worth splashing, then I will. Epiphany of the Drowned Yard is okay. I don't really like this card all that much, though. Okay, we could take a first just to win. Actually, Nearheath Chaplain is actually a card worth splashing. So I'm probably just going to take that here, and we'll go for Bant things. which is a deck I'm fine with anyway. It's so much better than Just the Wind. Yeah, I'm fine playing Bant things. I really like Near Heat Chaplain. Like I said, I think it's absolutely fine on the splash. Okay, Ongoing Investigation is like the reason to be blue-green, so we're definitely taking this card. Very strong. Very good card. Just very good. Really works well with like Wildfield Scarecrow along the same lines. There's an Inspector in here, a Confront the Unknown, and that's really it. I guess Open the Armory, which finds Sleep Paralysis, which is kind of cool. But we're going to take on... I think we easily wheel Open the Armory. I guess I wouldn't splash for it, though, so that's probably not happening. This is a bit of a miss. I guess we take Root out for sideboard. I don't think I'm going to main deck a Deny Existence. We don't really need it. Alright, this is a pretty easy Stitched Mangler. It's a very playable card, very good. It's kind of exactly what our deck really wants to do, especially with Ongoing Investigation. We really need some removal. Now, this doesn't count as removal, but it certainly is going to buy us the time that we need to get to the late game. I mean, we can definitely win through value via Jace or Ongoing Investigation. This deck really needs some big flashy finisher, which we're currently lacking, but if we can get a big flashy finisher plus a couple of removal spells, I think this base will work just fine. This seems like a good time to pick up Port Town. Currently our fixing is just a Wildfield Scarecrow, and like I said, I really do want to play this Near Heat Chaplain. Now we are passing a Just the Wind, which I would like for this deck, but I think taking the Port Town here is just correct. It's going to be nice to make our mana better. Alright, Silent Observer is very good. However, Fleeting Memories actually does give us something to do with this Ongoing Investigation. This probably is the game plan we want. Even though, like I said, I think Silent Observer would be great for this deck. We're actually going to take the Fleeting Memories. And I think at that point we've got a good green-blue win the game plan. Alright, we'll take the Fork in the Road. Also playable. Finds our white mana. Because we're probably just going to run one Plains. Now, I do think we're going to need more than just Ongoing Investigation to make the Fleeting Memories work. You really need some more ways to investigate, which we currently don't have. Alright, Bob Manley is going to be the pick. Alright, we'll take the Warped Landscape. Not sure if we need it, but I don't need an Equestrian skill either. We'll take the blue card. I think we're going to pass a Ghoul. We'll let that happen. Okay. So, deck base is going to work. Like I said, Fleeting Memories, I'm on the fence. This is a really good blue-green strategy if you can make it work. But just an Ongoing Investigation, I'm not gonna fuss with it. Westvale Abbey is definitely considered a big-time late game finisher, so we're definitely taking this. Even though it's a 3-color deck, maybe we even end up in an 18 land deck. We probably don't have to, but yeah, I guess we don't have to with Fork in the Road, and Wildfield Scarecrow will probably be fine. But Westvale Abbey is definitely a big finisher that we're looking for, so we're going to take that. I think it's worth, at least a couple tickets too. Otherwise, Silver Strike you can splash, but I'd probably just take Pack Guardian if Westvale Abbey wasn't in here. I really like Abbey a lot. It's just I've certainly won many games just on the back of that card. And it's one of those cards where you can just like top deck it and be like, oh, okay, I win now. So it's really nice. There's a Woodland Stream, make our mana even better. Otherwise, yeah, there's really not anything else in here. I probably just want Vessel. Vessel finds Ongoing Investigation, fills your yard for investigation, and possibly fixes you as well. And it's something to do early, which our deck kind of wants to do. And it's good with flip cards. Keeps your mana active while not playing a spell. So I'll probably take it over the fixing. To be honest, we probably wheel the fixing. Or we wheel the Gone Missing. Well, I guess I don't want another 5-drop, though. But we'll take the Vessel. I think this card is just good. I mean, there's Erdwall Illuminator, which is actually really good. We probably just want it. It's one of those cards that's just insane combo with Ongoing Investigation. It gives you more incentive to play Fleeting Memories as well, if we can find some more cards. I'd like the Stitched Mangler. I'd like the Quilled Wolf, but I think we're going to take the Illuminator. This card is very good, and this is the deck This style of deck is really where this card, I think, is maximized. If we had more ways to investigate beyond ongoing investigation and one fleeting memories, I'd be more confident in this strategy. But as is, I think we're probably just going to pursue the card advantage of ongoing investigation and dump the mill of fleeting memories. We're going to have to see some real spicy investigation happening soon here. Okay, so I guess there's Groundskeeper, which we don't have any infinite combos with that I can see. There's Broken Concentration, which is playable, but I think I'm fine at this point taking the Just the Wind. It's a nice card to have. And our removal is very, very light. We basically just have a Sleep Paralysis and a Jace. So, and a Stitch Mangler, but this is all like temporary removal. So we're in a little bit of trouble in that regard, but I think we can still make this work. Okay, I'm fine taking a third Jenny Loggins. There's a Just the Wind and an Aim High in here, which would be playable as well. Like I said, I don't think this is a Moldgraph Scavenger deck. And Weirding Wood, I guess, fixes and investigates, which we're kind of looking for fleeting memories, but I think we're off the fleeting memories plan. As you can see, our deck still wants at least a couple more creatures. So I'm fine playing all the loggers. They're totally acceptable in a deck like this, since they can beat down quickly. They're a nice 2-drop. I'm okay taking a second Just the Wind. I think the reason that I'm more okay playing multiple Just the Winds in a deck like this is the fact that we have the card advantage of Pour Over the Pages and Jace. So, and ongoing investigation. Like, we have some serious card draw in here, which makes these kind of cards that typically are almost card disadvantage, they work really well, especially alongside say you play a 2-drop, you play your investigation, you can find an opening to attack if you have your Just the Wind. So we'll take a second one. Okay, we can take a second Vessel. I'm okay with that. There's Loam Dryad, which actually works well alongside ongoing investigation and would let us splash and possibly ramp. I might actually want the Loam Dryad. I don't need multiple Vessels in a deck that has no Delirium. It's basically just good because it fills the yard for ongoing investigation, which is legitimately good. And I guess it finds, like, our Sleep Paralysis. But I'm kind of on board with Loam Dryad in this deck, especially with, like, a Westvale Abbey. We want as many creatures as we can. It's really good for fixing, and it works with ongoing investigation, so I think we're just going to take it. That's the latest Fiery Temper I think I've ever seen in my entire life. There's a Murderer's Axe in here, which is kind of cool with Just the Wind. It makes any of our little threats much bigger threats. There's also a Clip Wings, which is perfectly acceptable for sideboard. At this point, this is our main deck, although I guess Fleeting Memories is not going to happen, so maybe I will actually play the Murderer's Axe. I could see this card being useful, especially if you're just getting flooded. It's nice to just make something an actual threat. I think we're going to take the Murderer's Axe. Otherwise, I hate a Temper, but I think I might actually play the Murderer's Axe. So there's Confront the Unknown, which does give you more Fleeting Memories ammo, but I just think we don't have enough gas for Fleeting Memories. Only having Investigation is not a good reason to play Fleeting Memories. I think, like I said, this is kind of the ideal color. This is the ideal archetype for the card, but if you don't have the support for it, it's really just not going to work. Like, having one card that works with it, it's just not inspiring. Plus, I don't know how well we are going to be able to hold down the fort. I think we got to beat down. I'm going to take the Thornhide Wolves. I know it's another 5-drop, but considering the lack of beef in this deck, I might want to find a spot for it. I guess we can take Gone Missing. There's Might Beyond Reason. Maybe we just take a second Wicker Witch, although we're probably not playing it. I think we are playing the first one. But maybe we play the Might Beyond Reason? Probably not, I guess. It's just the fact that we have no... We might actually need this because we just have no tricks or removal. I guess I'll Hate a Mutation now. Shard of Broken Glass, I guess, technically does work with Investigation, but I'd rather play a Murderer's Axe, which also, I guess, kind of works with Investigation, but you really don't want to be discarding cards either. I don't think we have synergies with Groundskeeper, right? I mean, I guess it works with, like, Vessel, and I guess it does work with Fork in the Road, but doesn't matter, I guess. We're not going to play any of these cards anyway. Okay. So our big finishers are, I guess, technically a Thornhide Wolves and a Westvale Abbey. Not the most inspiring big-time finishers. I wish that we could have made the Fleeting Memories deck work. I just don't think that one ongoing investigation is enough. That being said, I think this deck is okay. I think we're going to be able to make this work. We do have a lot of 5-drops, I guess. Maybe we probably don't need the Gone Missing. I mean, we could have had Gone Missing, Confront the Unknown, Ongoing Investigation, and Fleeting Memories as like a little package, but there's just so much better you can do. I admit, Illuminator looks worse because we don't have a lot of Investigate, but Illuminator, Ongoing Investigation are pretty crazy together. They do some pretty unfair things. Those two cards are like sort of made for each other. I'd rather play the Pour Over the Pages than the Gone Missing. Even though we're going to be removal light, I think we're still going to be okay. And like I said, I think we actually want Murderer's Axe in here too. It's just something you can stick on a flyer, or you can stick on one of your little ground guys to make them much stronger. So I'm gonna be okay with playing 14 creatures, but I do sort of have to figure out what the cut is gonna be. So we gotta make 2 cuts, and maybe we do cut the Might Beyond Reason. Maybe 2 Just the Winds, a Sleep Paralysis is gonna, and a Jace, and a Mangler is gonna have to be good enough. This deck is lacking in the evasion department. I seem to always be disappointed whenever I make a green-blue deck. I always tend to be disappointed, but we also do have the big-time finisher of Westvale Abbey, so we've at least got something in the late game that just will take the game over, which is good news. And Jace can certainly take a game over. If it is protected long enough, you get heinous amounts of card advantage, and then that emblem is the real deal. Like, that is a big hindrance for your opponent to deal with. So there's pros and cons of this deck, and I would say more cons than pro, unfortunately. But all right, let's cut the Might Beyond Reason, and I think we're just making one more cut, and I think it's going to be a Homunculus just because I think this card's pretty lackluster. Although maybe it's actually the Wicker Witch now that I think about it. I think I want to keep the curve as low as possible. I have no Delirium in here, so there's really just no reason to play it, other than the fact that it's a 3-mana 3/1. Stoic Builder can still get us lands back with Vessel and Fork in the Road, so I actually like him in here. But yeah, overall this deck is pretty lackluster. We're basically banking on a Jason Westvale Abbey to get us there because our creatures are pretty bad. I don't think we're going to play Warped Landscape. I think between Port Town, Fork in the Road, Scarecrow, and 1 Plains, we're going to be just fine on our and Loam Dryad. Like, our white is fixed. We have 1 white card, which I'm still fine with splashing. 14 creatures is going to be acceptable. It's obviously not great, but it's going to have to be good enough. So yeah, I would rate this deck probably in D territory, which is about where all of my green-blue decks end up. Some people just love this strategy. And like I said, if you can get the Fleeting Memories thing going, I think you can really make it insane. And I will give credit to Ongoing Investigation for being an incredibly strong card. It just feels like this deck, just looking at it, it really looks like it's going to be tough to win with this. Just the mix of lack of evasion with lack of removal is really just a huge downside to decks like this. So this would be 8 blue, 7 green, 2 white. That's not great. I almost want 1 less blue because our green is where we're going to be able to get the with Fork in the Road is where we're going to be able to find blue or white. So this would be 8, 7, 2. I guess we do actually have double blue though, don't we? Man, our mana base is worse than I thought, but I certainly don't want to play 18 lands in here. Not with Fork in the Road and Wildfield Scarecrow. It feels like a waste. Plus our curve is relatively low. I guess we also do have Loam Dryad too. All right, I'm running low on time. I'm going to go for the Air towards green. Even though, like I said, we have the double blue. I think the issue with that is if we don't see the green, we could end up not being able to find our blue or white. So overall, pretty bad deck. I'm going to give it a D. We'll give it like a 65%, and this is how we'll run it. So we'll see you round 1.